It is Monday, October 27th, and I am doing the one card community tarot draw. So, hi, Carrie. Good to see you. Um, and so we are coming into Halloween week, which is spiritually a big week for a lot of different cultures. And it's definitely a big week for me. I'm probably going to be spending most of my week cooking and talking to dead people. So, which I know some people will go, how is that different from the rest of your life? Well, there's more cooking. So, the one card community draw today. And so, a little bit about why I do this. So, aside from, hey, it makes me, remind my subscribers I exist and helps me get a frame for the week. It is also the community part of the community tarot is what's most important to me, because for this, especially when we're going through unprecedented times, it's a way of me giving service to the community by giving a little bit of tarot wisdom and trying to tie it to practical, actionable advice that you can actually use in your life. So that's entirely the reason I do it. And I have found that doing my tarot readings with the intention of going, okay, that's great. So here's the love life. Here's what's faded. Here's blah, blah, blah. Doesn't really mean much unless it's you need to have a plan. You need to have something concrete you can do. So almost everything I've been putting forward in these videos is with the intention of finding something concrete. Now, concrete may mean something that is internal, where you're working with your emotional life, or external, where you're doing practical things to prepare or open a way or finish things off. So with that said, the tarot card for the week, dun, 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 interesting, is Three of Fire, Birth of Light. So this will be Three of Wands. So for those of you that are already subscribers, you know that on Monday, I send out the Substack on Monday nights, and I will have this next to the Coleman Smith Rider-Waite Tarot. So you can see what the traditional card looks like and how the imagery can actually change the meaning. So, and Tarot of the Spirits, one of my favorites. It's very Kabbalah based, but it speaks Diana since I do a lot of folk magic. So a lot of these things translate into the way I understand how magic works, which means that I can even use the tarot for spell casting when I want to. Whole other story for another day. Again, I'm trying to get the contents out of my head and it's slow going. So, Birth of Light. This means that there is going to be some hope happening, which I tend to be very skeptical about hope. For me to say that is kind of something. And I'm going to just hold this up so you can get a better look. And this weird year has been so weird that I frequently, unless it's a personal reading, I have not dared to imagine. I have not really dared to look beyond, because there is no bingo card. We started the new year just torching the bingo cards, and we're basically popping out little balls from that cage and just yelling non-Euclidean numbers at this point. We're just into surreal world. So when we're talking about Birth of Light, that means a few things. So under the Three of Fire and that fire energy, first, it means more information is going to come out. We're going to find out more stuff. More things are going to be revealed. We're likely to, somebody's going to basically drop the curtain, find the man behind the curtain and pants him. But it also means that people are going to be seeing their way through. They are going to be finding the support for each other. So right now, under current national circumstances in the US, and I don't know where everyone's coming from necessarily, in the US, we've been here before. It's just worse this time. But I think that people have learned that mutual support, that showing up, that giving from the little you have, if it is slightly more than your neighbor, is actually important to do. So looking at this one, I am hearing the advice in my caffeine deficient brain that it is a time to step up. Yes, donate to your food shelves, but also tend your homes, tend your gardens. And I know that sounds like a weird thing to say uh, in the part of the country where winter is coming. But one, winter sowing is now a thing. There are methods where you can tend your gardens ahead of time and have them succeed better. But for those that are able to do so, and there is just something about stepping back wherever you can take control back, take it. And more people are going to start seeing the little ways, the little subversions, the little resistances, okay, you want me to buy this brand of frozen peas, so I'm just going to go trade it for my neighbor. Or it's going to be, I have shopped here forever and I just found out that it's cheaper to redistribute in 4 different ways, even if it takes me a little more time. It is also a call. And again, this is one of the gifts of winter. And when I lived in San Francisco, after living in the Midwest my entire life, where I was living in Minnesota, where there were just the harshest of winters, and I kind of hated those winters. They were cold, they were hard, they were miserable. I definitely had seasonal affective disorder. At the same time, they gave you a time to slow down. They gave you a reason to go inward and focus on writing projects and knitting and creating and all of those little contemplative activities. And San Francisco didn't have it unless it rained. And it wasn't raining very often when I got there. It was always go, go, go all the time. There were no rest cycles. There was basically just a lot of capitalist screaming while trying to basically suck dry what was left of counterculture. It was really weird. And I miss it. I don't miss that, but I miss San Francisco. And so the only version of winter they had, the only version of slow down and go inward was rain. And then everybody kind of hibernated because they had to. We need those slowdowns. We are about to have some kind of healthy slowdown, and Mercury retrograde is coming next month. Mercury retrograde doesn't have to be bad. It's just a slowdown. And perhaps we can tap into that time because it's a very introspective time to go, what brightens us up? What gives us light? What actually helps us? So, for example, I do track the news cycle, but I have learned to feed myself a little light and maybe a little sugar when I first start my day instead of jumping right into the, oh my God, what happened now? So what I've been doing is reading a chapter from a romance novel to start my day. That's it. And somehow that makes everything more bearable. I know it seems a little ridiculous, but apparently it does something good for my brain. Find your thing that gives you that little bit of light that makes everything more bearable. Because apparently we are having an opportunity to rebuild from within to without. And when we do, it's going to make all the difference. So that's what I've got for you this morning. Thank you so much for taking the time to hang out with me and sticking with me. Stay magical, everybody. For those that aren't aware, I do also run the Spirited Witch Patreon. And for members, including free members, I do a 3-card draw at 9:15 on Monday night. So it will start with this card, and then there'll be 3 more cards to give more of a perspective on the week and what the potential advice from the universe or spirit is. And yes, I do one-on-one readings. I am a spirit worker. I deal with difficult paranormal things. I can deal with love life, but I am the kind of reader that will spell out dump him with the cards. So that's what I've got for you today. Thank you so much for taking the time. If you haven't seen me before, I invite you to subscribe and hang out. Yes, I do paywall, but I'm pretty generous before I do. Stay magical, and I will see some of y'all later. Happy Halloween.